where you are. Bye for now.
Thanks, Clive. Hello and welcome to Midlands Today with me, Ben Godfrey. 2,373. That's the provisional number of people who've been killed or seriously injured on the roads of the West Midlands last year, according to the Department of Transport. Today we have a special programme, a road safety special, where we'll be reflecting on the dangers on the region's roads, hearing from those directly affected and asking those in power what's been done to save lives. Good evening and welcome to a special Midlands Today as we examine one of the most concerning and tragic issues facing our communities, road traffic casualties. 119 people died on the region's roads last year. Among them was Maya Yahia, a 4-year-old girl knocked down and killed while walking home from an Eid celebration in Birmingham. It is a city facing a road safety emergency. Maya's parents, Sarah and Babika, have spoken to us about channeling their grief towards lasting change.
She is very good girl. She loves tidying, helping me. Mommy, I want to help. I want to be good like you. I want to cook. I want to clean. She always said, always.
Before the accident, the mayor's actually, she always liked play with me. But at that day, she did something very special, very not normal. Even I was asking myself. I was sitting in a bedroom. She just came to me from sitting room to the bedroom, said, "Dad, come, I need to play with you today." But that's the first time she said that, the day of the accident.
Tributes have been paid to a 4-year-old girl who died when she was hit by a car near a children's play park in Birmingham. Maya Yahia was killed on Sunday in Upper Highgate Street while she walked to 2 women on the pavement.
It's unbelievable. And the burial was very, very big, and a lot of people attended. The Sudanese community around the country and also friends and neighbors around Birmingham all came together. Their community, they did very good job. They all came out to close the road so them to reflect what's happening, so the people know what's going on the street. Now, this is something to do with the government side. I think the important part of this is just about the people in office. They have to look about the safety for everybody. In a Birmingham city, the driving attitude in Birmingham is completely different from the rest of the country.
If this one closed, still that was make some problem with the traffic, but there's a lot of options available. I think the first safety is the first. It's safety the first, so that's the point.
Everyone is scared, not as the kids, parents, everyone. She loves sharing. She loves her friends. Always she talk about her friends. She always said, "My dad is my best friend."
She's absolutely lovely girl. She's absolutely lovely girl.
The 23-year-old man has since been charged in relation to Maya's death and is due in court later this month. Our reporter Audrey Diaz joins us now from the New Home Community Park in Highgate, close to the scene of the collision. Audrey.
Ben, last summer, Birmingham City Council declared a road safety emergency after acknowledging residents' concerns about, well, the standards of driving on the city streets. Now, working with West Midlands Combined Authority and the police, they looked into safety campaigns and enforcement and other measures to try and tackle the issues. Now, one of the groups that's been pushing for change is Better Streets for Birmingham, and with me is campaign lead Lucy Caldecott. Now, Lucy, it's been a year. What improvements have you seen, if any?
So it's good to have heard today that the City Council has announced that the streets around this play area are going to be pedestrianised in Maya Yahia's memory, something that her family have been campaigning for. but protecting schools, streets near schools and streets near play areas should be citywide policy, and it shouldn't take the death of a little girl to make action like that happen. We've also seen an increase in enforcement measures such as red light cameras and average speed enforcement, which is welcome too.
Now, what are the priorities?
So since the road safety emergency was declared, 21 people have died on our roads and hundreds more have been injured, seriously injured in crashes. And Better Streets for Birmingham does not accept that crashes on our roads are inevitable. What we want to see is far greater attention given to preventative measures such as reduction of speed, education for drivers, alternative modes to get around the city. We know the Mayor has £2.4 billion to spend on transport in the next 5 years, and we really hope that this will be given attention. The money is there.
Thank you, Lucy. So there we have it. What the people of Birmingham want to see is real measurable change when it comes to safety on our streets.
Audrey, thank you. Well, earlier we spoke to Councillor Majid Mahmood, the Cabinet Member for Transport at Birmingham City Council, about what the authority's been doing since declaring that road safety emergency in August last year.
By the end of this year, all roads in the city will have a maximum speed of 30 miles per hour. We've increased enforcement activity with the West Midlands Police. There's been 66 operations which have issued in 741 PSNs across the city.
Well, we're joined now by the West Midlands Police Chief Constable Craig Guildford, West Midlands Road Safety Commissioner Matt MacDonald, Mayor of the West Midlands Richard Parker, and journalist and independent filmmaker Sarah Chandler. This is a hugely emotive subject. Sarah, you spent 2 years with some of these families. What do they make now of the current state of Birmingham's roads?
I think there's a lot of despair. I think they have lost their loved ones. The two children that I highlight in the film, Maya was killed last year and Azan Khan was killed 2 years ago. And I think they just feel quite hopeless that perhaps not enough is being done, and they don't want their children's deaths to be in vain. So, and I think also they're importantly channeling their energy into trying to get change for other families so that nobody else has to go through the utter devastation that they have.
Craig Guildford, back in August 2023, you pledged really to have Operation Triton, 2 new road teams looking at this particular area. Have you implemented it, and how successful has it been?
We've already implemented that. We have 38 extra resources in this area of business, and most importantly, we've reduced the numbers by 28%. We take this incredibly seriously. There's been some good leadership across the political spectrum, and our officers are out there enforcing that legislation. We've come together on average speed cameras across the region, and that's having some increasing success.
Let's talk
our
about
enforcement
speeding.
has actually, speeding enforcement has actually trebled the prosecutions that we've been doing.
Speeding is an issue that 80% of comments from our viewers have come forward. Take this one as well from Charles from Moseley in Birmingham. Residents have been campaigning for 25 years to get speed control measures on Russell Road. It's a 20-mile-an-hour zone. Highest recorded speed is 135 miles an hour. How do you police that?
We police that via a variety of means. So we've doubled the number of safety camera vans that we have out and about. We've increased the resources in roads policing, as I've just alluded to. And most importantly, what we have is Operation Snap, so people can send in their footage, and we then reactively pursue individuals that drive at those speeds, but also drive in a very antisocial manner. And we're very determined to focus down on this area.
Richard Parker, funding. Birmingham City Council clearly has been struggling financially. It says it can't roll out speed cameras all around the city. This is your document here, Road Strategy from November last year. You couldn't put a figure on the funding you would need to implement your 23 actions. Have you got the money to do it?
We are now using our resources and deploying them to make a big difference. I want to set out we're working collaboratively with all our partners, including the police and the council. We have a road safety action plan which is endorsed and signed off by every council leader, and I've appointed Matt, who sat next to me, as the first road safety commissioner in the country.
And what have you been doing, Matt, directly on the ground in those communities to help people?
I've been liaising with communities all over the shop via email and in person, supporting some of the campaigns that they've been putting forward, putting people who come to me with road harm issues that they're encountering on their day-to-day business, putting them in touch with the right officers, the right highways teams who can solve their problems, and also scrutinising Birmingham City Council on the delivery of a long overdue road safety scheme that many residents are complaining about.
Sarah Chawner, very quickly, what would the families make of what they've just heard there?
Yeah, I think it's all very heartening to hear that things are happening behind the scenes. But actually, on a daily basis, if you go out onto Birmingham city streets, you will see collisions, you will see fast cars, you will see people on their mobile phones, and the police can't be everywhere, and that's the key point.
OK, thank you for now. Right, well, that's urban roads, clearly, but we've also been looking at rural roads, which, of course, has its own challenges. Last week, the inquest was held into the deaths of Jensen Bridges, who was 17, 18-year-old Simon Evans, both of Staffordshire, and 17-year-old Jacob Holman from Wolverhampton, who died on a lane near Shifnal in Shropshire. It heard that Jensen, the driver, had passed his driving test the day before the crash. Now, according to the AA, 72% of all road deaths occur on country roads. So how do we ensure drivers understand the dangers? David Lunn reports.
I'm in a car with Tom, a traffic officer on Staffordshire Police's road crime team. He's used to dealing with fatal crashes. During his 12-year career, he's attended 22. 20 of those were on rural and county roads.
Of the 22 I've attended, I would probably say 70% of those are motorbikes, younger riders on the bikes, the younger riders in cars. We can sort of predict it, particularly on a Sunday. People go out on the bikes for the sort of the ride out with their friends. And again, we can look out and sadly a bit on tenterhooks and predict that potentially going to happen that day.
Tom's taking me to the village of Swinnerton, where there have been a number of motorbike fatalities.
28.
Today, Community Speed Watch volunteers are taking part in a national day of action.
What's the fastest you've caught someone doing today?
Today, 40 miles an hour. They're speeding through the village. People are so scared. They actually walk the children now to the buses in the morning because it's that busy. We're trying our best to slow them all down, but this village is a rabbit run.
Hi Josh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, David.
Josh is a driving instructor who's offered to show me some of the dangers.
The road's barely wide enough for two cars down here. Now if we were doing any... Oh, here we go.
Okay, so we were crawling then, so it's easy for us to pull across, but if I'd been going a bit faster, that might have been tricky, yeah?
Absolutely.
So why do you think there are so many crashes then on rural roads?
There's often no line, so the roads are much narrower and people just aren't adjusting their speed for the road. Just because it's a national speed limit road doesn't mean you have to go national speed limit.
Look at this, Josh.
This is a perfect example, yeah. This is someone in a Subaru. They've come around that corner much too fast.
There have been a number of high-profile crashes in the region, and some campaigners have called for a graduated licence system, with initial restrictions on, for instance, carrying passengers until the driver is more experienced.
I don't believe that that's the right place to deal with the problem of young drivers having challenges on the road. I think you need to look earlier. So whether that's the driving test itself, making sure the driving test is more firm, making sure that those that get a licence are ready to take on the roads, whether that is introducing a minimum amount of lessons before you take your driving test.
50 locations were targeted in this day of action.
A lot of people might say, what's the point of all this? You're not going to stop people speeding.
You're never going to stop speeding, but that's the mindset. But if we don't do anything, then we're not doing our job as the police. Through education enforcement, we've got to try and change that mindset of how people are thinking about speeding. And if we even just have an impact on a small percentage, then we're doing the job that we need to be doing.
Tom hopes that events like this might delay the day he attends that 23rd fatal accident. David Lunn, BBC Midlands Today, Staffordshire.
Staffordshire Police have told us that more than 600 drivers were caught speeding during that single day of action. Now, another of the casualties on our rural roads was May Vaughn. She was just 17 and was killed when a car driven by her 20-year-old boyfriend Logan Addison came off the road near Shawbury Heath in Shropshire in 2023. Her mum Leanne shares her story.
Lily May was my whole world. I absolutely idolised her. She was just a ray of happiness. Wherever she went, if she walked into a room, she would light it up. She was just such a positive girl, and she was a proper down-to-earth girl who liked the simple things in life. She wasn't really into her appearance, to be honest. She just liked to be in nature. I used to say she was like the blonde Snow White because she just seemed to enchant animals. I thought that I was so blessed. I had 2 children, life was good. But then one day your daughter goes out the door totally happy and she never comes home to you, and it's just a really hard grief. It feels like your power cord's being pulled out, you can't function anymore, and heartbreak is terrible. It's a pain that I'll carry for the rest of my life inside. Until the day that I lost my daughter, I didn't realise that road deaths were the biggest danger and the biggest killer of young people. So I just really hope that talking today will make people stop and think that driving is a privilege, and that, you know, we should make sure when we drive in cars that we're being safe. At the moment, our legislation is really outdated. Currently, we're letting 17-year-olds drive really powerful cars. They can be the most sensible teenager, but put passengers in the car with them and they're 4 times more likely to crash. Let's start making simple changes, like saying you can't carry passengers in the vehicle until you've been driving for at least 6 months. I didn't think until the day it happened to me that this was the biggest danger to Lily May.
Well, the government's currently working on a new road safety strategy with details, it says, to be released in due course. Among those waiting are Diane Gall from Oldbury, whose husband James was in a collision in 2020, along with Lucy Harrison from Redditch, whose brother was killed by a speeding driver in 2014 and now works with the charity Road Peace.
We do need a drastic change of approach and change of culture in how we deal with deaths and injuries on the roads. They need to be viewed as preventable, not accidental. We need proper resource, we need funding.
I think there does need to be tougher sentences. The fact that she only serves half of a sentence after only being given 4 years, 9 months, and killing my husband and seriously injuring someone else as well. I think most people would agree that's not enough. We are living a life sentence.
We've had numerous tragic cases where passengers are killed when a newly qualified driver is behind the wheel. We've seen some pictures recently of a petition handed into Downing Street by Crystal Owen, the mom of 17-year-old Harvey from Shrewsbury, who died in November 2023. You might remember that case, along with 3 other teenagers. Craig Guilford, do you agree? Should we be having graduated licences?
I think those developments are very positive. I hope they come to fruition. I think it's important that we can approach it and look at the evidence, and studies would show timings of new drivers, but also the number of people in the car are important factors. And I think if we go with the evidence, it would show that that would be a benefit, and that would help reduce these numbers of collisions.
So that's a yes from you. How urgently,
Absolutely.
quickly should it be introduced?
Well, policy is a matter for government, not chief constables.
Yeah.
Can
Matt,
I just back up what the Chief Constable has said?
Do you agree that it's the right measure?
100%. So the evidence on graduated driving licences is crystal clear. There's been a Cochrane review, a meta-analysis of 34 different studies looking at graduated driver licence schemes across the world. And in each and every one of them, they've reduced collisions, they've reduced serious injuries, and they've reduced deaths. And the government continue to characterise these schemes as unfairly penalising the very young people whose life and limb it would undoubtedly save.
Well, let's see what they present when they publish those details. Education is clearly a big issue, I'm sure you'd all agree, for young people getting behind that wheel at that young age. One of our viewers' comments hits that tone. Maybe the cure for road safety is to get people to read the latest highway code. Perhaps traffic officers or local police should go into schools to educate them. How are you building education into your role, Matt?
Well, I think education of drivers is very important. I'm currently working with the OpSnap team that the Chief Constable described earlier to do an education piece about the close passing of cyclists. So anyone who does travel by bike knows how intimidating it is when a vehicle passes close by. And the law states that you need to leave at least 1.5 metres of distance when passing a cyclist, which people don't do often enough. So we're working up a campaign video to inform drivers of the dangers they pose by doing that sort of thing.
Richard, Matt's role is clearly important. Why then was it introduced as a voluntary post 1 day a week when it was advertised?
So firstly, it's not a voluntary post, and Matt's done a great job.
He gets an honorary payment every year, doesn't he?
No.
It's not a salaried job, is it?
He gets paid for the work that he does. He's doing a great job, and he's adding real value working with our other partners, and he's supported by a team of officers at the council. The issue we're facing, all of us, and we're aiming to deal with, is that there are too many people and too many young people driving irresponsibly, recklessly and dangerously on our roads, and we're working in partnership now in a really coherent way to make the difference we want to make.
Just quickly on speeding fines, because we touched on speeding, the money goes back to the Treasury still. Your predecessor tried to get the money back to communities. How important is it that money comes back and is reinvested into road safety?
So I've written, along with the Police and Crime Commissioner, to the Home Secretary, requesting, given the issues we're dealing with in this city, in this region, that we retain the proceeds of fines, and we use that to reinvest in safety, and we are doing some of that already in a limited way.
Thank you for now. We'll touch upon further issues in a moment, but first, you know, we don't all use cars. Lots of us use public transport, walking even, or on your bike, but can a family cope without a car? Our environment correspondent David Gregory-Kumar has taken up the challenge.
That's me, my husband Siraj, the twins, May and Marie, and of course our daughter Marnie. Say hi, Marnie. Hi. And this is what we replaced our family car with. This is a cargo bike built by a well-known East Midlands bicycle company. It has a rain cover and a battery boost for when the going gets tough. Car or no car, with 3 kids, the mornings are chaos. Today, Daddy's walking Marnie to school while I take Maeve and Marie in the bike. Apart from this very busy first section of road, I can mostly stay off roads completely. Then a short walk along a pavement, as usual semi-blocked by parked cars, and we finish our journey through an ancient LTN, or low traffic neighbourhood. Now, at some point, a long time ago, this road was closed to through traffic apart from bicycles, for antisocial behaviour reasons, I think. But the result is a really pleasant and easy last stretch of this journey. Next, general errands around town, and here's where cargo bike life gets a bit more complicated. In Birmingham, they've spent millions upgrading the canal paths for walkers and, yes, for cyclists. And it's nobody's fault, but the two don't always mix. Sorry, mate. It's okay, sorry, no worries. And then there's the question of how you get from the canal back to the roads, and the council have come up with this answer: stairs. Further on, these roadworks swamping the new cycle lane have been going on for months. Still, when you get past them, the whole thing is absolutely great. But once you get closer to town, the cycle path becomes less defined and is usually blocked by not 1 but 4 cars in a row in this case, and this is pretty typical. Errands done, time for after-school activities. This stretch of cycle lane was actually put in during the lockdowns, and it might be a bit ropey. No, it is ropey, but at least it's still here. The council actually took out about 600 metres of COVID-era bicycle lanes because they couldn't afford to make them permanent. 9,000 kilometres of school runs and nursery pickups and errands later, I couldn't imagine going back to a car. I couldn't imagine going back to the stress, the worry, the traffic jams, and the fact you can't find anywhere to park. I don't have any of those problems with this thing, so we're going to keep it for now. Although once they get bigger, we might have to face facts and get a bigger bike. Yeah!
Well, David certainly had a lot of fun there with his family, but certainly a chaotic journey. So how do you get people onto their bikes when there are certain issues? Richard Parker, I'm going to go straight to a viewer's comment on this. Pete from Harborne, in my area there are tens and tens of miles of roads but only 300 yards of bike lanes, and that one bike lane is so faded no one can really see it anymore. What are you doing to maintain them?
So we've got the funds, I think Lucy Caldecott mentioned it earlier, we've got the funds now from the government, £2.5 billion to invest in our transport network going forward. That's not just going to buses, trains and metros, it'll be going to new walkways, pedestrianisation and new lanes for cycling. My Active Travel Commissioners work with me and the team to work with our councils to develop a plan for that going forward, because I want everyone in this region to be able to know they can cycle and walk safely around this region. There's a lot of work to do with some of our local authorities to do that, but we're making good progress and we'll be announcing our plans once we've got through the summer period.
There's a cyclist sitting next to you, Matt MacDonald. We filmed you about a week ago. Take a look at this, see what happened. This is you with your children on your bike. Approaching our camera. Clearly some issues there with getting across the road. How common is that an occurrence for you and your children?
I mean, I was at an incredibly dangerous junction where...
And not wearing a helmet.
Where we were currently processing... Well, we could get into the debate about helmets. My children were wearing helmets. There are some studies that show that when you're not wearing a helmet, people give you a wider berth and therefore it's less dangerous. So that is a subject that's out for discussion. Mm-hmm. If you go to countries where there is adequate provision in terms of mobility lanes, people don't wear helmets because they don't have collisions that threaten their safety. So that is a matter for debate generally. Okay.
Could I ask you, Craig, finally, how important is safety and education in the car from parents to children to reduce the number of fatalities on the road?
It's really important. It's part of the highway code, but it also forms part of the work that we do in schools with young people, and that's very important going forward.
Thank you very much. OK, let's take a welcome breather. A look to the skies. The end of the school term is here, and you and your travels. Let's check the forecast with Rebecca Wood.
Hello, good evening. It has been a mixed picture across the board today. We have had some sunshine, and where we got that with the warmer air mass over the top of us, temperatures did very well indeed, but quite a lot of cloud, and through this weekend it is going to remain rather unsettled. We can expect some heavy thundery downpours through this weekend, and as a result of that we have a Met Office yellow weather warning in place. It's falling on very dry ground, this rain, so it is likely to lead to some flash flooding in some spots. We could see some significant rainfall totals as well. It's all courtesy of all these weather systems which are heading our way. So this is the front which has brought us the cloud today. It will reinvigorate, and then this area of low pressure sweeping through for Sunday, which is going to give more spells of rain. Through tonight, we'll see any cloud melting away for a time, and then we'll start to get that cloud filtering back in. And as that front gets a wave on it, it will reinvigorate, and we'll start to see some heavy downpours in there. Temperatures overnight 15 or 16 degrees, another close, humid night. So we start off tomorrow with that cloud and that smattering of rain. Then we get a clump of rain working its way up from much of the east of the region. It will start to make inroads further west as well. It will clear away, we'll get some sunshine, and then we'll start to get some more showers triggered off with our temperatures tomorrow. 21 to 26 Celsius. As we head overnight, all that will clear out of the way for a time. And then that next weather system's on its way, thickening up the cloud, bringing with it some rain, and that rain continuing into Sunday. Again, there could be some heavy bursts, and our temperatures still holding up overnight.
It's been a poignant programme, hasn't it? Thank you very much to our guests, to you at home for sending us lots of comments, in many cases about the risks of simply stepping out onto the street outside your home. We will look at each and every one of them. Thanks most of all to all the families that have spoken to us recently at length about living with loss, sharing their hopes for lasting change. From all of us here, all of our thoughts here are with you. Good night.